group of people protesting outside a chemical plant, and I got excited and I called all of my friends, and we all joined in to show our support. Chemical plants are always terrible for the environment, so we were more than happy to be a part of the protest. But as it turned out, it wasn't a protest at all. It was a picket line. The plant was temporarily shut down while all the workers were on strike, and all of us extra people showing up helped convince management to give in to their demands and end the strike. We were trying to get the place shut down, but instead we got them to reopen it earlier than they otherwise would have. So, yeah.
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Walking naked through the woods. I'm much more comfortable around trees and flowers than I am around people.
What's your biggest regret?
Well, that's easy. That would be the fishing trip I took my daughter Mallory on 20 years ago. Well, obviously I couldn't afford a boat. So we borrowed 2 floating pool chairs and off we went out into the ocean. It was a beautiful day. Unfortunately, I got caught in an undercurrent and I was swept off to a desert island. I saw she made it back to shore. It took me so long to get off the desert island that by the time I got home, she'd moved on, and I've not been able to find her since.
What is your most embarrassing guilty pleasure?
Prima Cinema. It's this service where you can watch a new movie at home the day it's released in theaters. I love watching movies. And I have a home theater, so why wouldn't I use it?
What is your favorite holiday?
Yeah, my favorite holiday is definitely Pi Day. March 14th, 3/14, aka 3.14 as in pi. And I love it. It's not an official holiday yet, anyway, but every Pi Day I go to a competition where, first off, there are many varieties of pie, blueberry, apple, we indulge. And then there's the competition part of it where they see who can name the most numbers after the decimal point from memory. And I won it once. I named 1,826 numbers from memory. But that's not the world record. And I don't know if I'll ever get close to that. The world record is 70,000 from memory. Happy Pi Day.
What is your most unusual talent?
I know how to survive in the wilderness. I can tell what's edible. I can build a shelter and a fire. I can clean water so it's safe to drink. Just survival skills in general. I don't like being dependent on money or on society, so I learned how to get by on my own.
What's the most serious law you've ever broken?
International piracy law. When I was lost at sea one time, I thought all was lost. But a pirate ship came by and actually rescued me. Now, you've heard bad things about pirates, and so had I, but they could not have been nicer. They gave me a job to do on ships so that I could earn my keep when I was there, and everything was going great until they got superstitious. They are superstitious, so they thought for some reason it might be bad luck that I was on board with them. So they were just about to drop me off when we got raided by a Russian Navy ship who put us all in a Russian jail for 5 years for piracy.
What is your most unusual talent?
I'm a really good cook. If I had to live in the old days where people had to cook their own meals, I could buy just fine.
Describe a typical day in your life.
Well, usually my day is going to revolve around what I'm watching and what games I'm playing. So, work aside, when I have free time, I'm going to be binging something, and just got done with The Last of Us, binged The Mandalorian, currently watching The Winchesters, and then I'm going to play video games, gaming, a lot of RPGs, and I am immersed in that world. I take gaming very seriously. Oh, and one more thing I take very seriously, snacking. I will always have some snacks on standby and some beverages, and I like playing with snack beverage combos. Yeah, that's pretty important. That's my day.
Describe a typical day in your life.
A typical day in my life is searching for my missing daughter, Mallory. And, really it is one of the big benefits to being homeless and unemployed is that I have no ties. I've nothing holding me back and stopping me from hitchhiking out there, getting on the road, heading to the last town that I've heard that she was in. When I get to the town, usually I find out that she's just left there suddenly. So I'll search for a soup kitchen or a dumpster, get something nice to eat, and then maybe a place to shelter until I hit the road again the next morning trying to find Mallory.
What's your most unusual pet peeve?
Pet peeve. When my chihuahua poops in my purse. I carry her around everywhere in my bag. I wish they made like a harness so I can carry her around like a purse. And then they had pockets so I wouldn't need another purse at all.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
I was a world record holder. I was the last known person to contract smallpox. For a week, somebody else did get it after me. I don't know their name. I don't really remember the week because I did have a terrible fever and a really itchy rash, but they say everyone gets their 15 minutes of fame, and that was mine.
What is your happiest memory?
I'm going there in my mind right now. Absolutely my happiest memory was going to see The Phantom Menace on the big screen. Star Wars Episode 1. You see, let's rewind. I thought I would never see new Star Wars in my lifetime. So when that came to pass, and I found myself butt in seat, looking up in a theater, brand new, taking me to a galaxy far, far away, the iconic scroll, the Star Wars logo, the score, John Williams. I can honestly say I was never happier. Now, the quality overall of the prequels, that is another conversation. But for that frozen moment in time, kill me now. I'm good.
That's the end of this round. We'll soon find out who will be going home after this message from our sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by placebos. Are you a hypochondriac? Ask your doctor if placebos are right for you. Now it's time for the audience to vote. Please enter the selection of the contestant you think should be going home. The votes are in. The audience has voted to send home Sam.
You know, coming in, I knew I had a 1 in 6 chance. Not a bad chance, but not perfect. So, I'm not surprised I have to go home.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
My proudest accomplishment. I would probably say when I hit 1 million followers. That wasn't my only milestone, but that one definitely stuck with me.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
I organized a demonstration to save a park, and it worked. They were going to level the place and build a distribution center. We had people protesting at the site for 3 weeks straight and got over 1,000 names on the petition. They ended up building the distribution center on the site of a nearby abandoned mall instead, so we didn't lose any jobs or anything. It was a complete win.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
Absolutely, I would return a wallet. I mean, if I was ever lucky enough to own something as precious as a wallet, I would really hope that someone would return mine to me if I ever lost it.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I always return wallets when I find them. Every time. It's the right thing to do.
If you found a wallet, would you return it?
I would return it, but I wouldn't be doing the owner a favor by doing so. People are obsessed with money and credit cards. They think money will buy them the freedom to enjoy life. Really, the quest to acquire wealth just makes you a slave to your employer. Still, it's their wallet, so of course I'd return it.
If you were going to be stranded on an island with one person of your choosing, who would it be?
Is it okay to say myself? I'd pick myself. Because that one time that I was stranded on a deserted island before, it was just me, and I got used to it. I mean, when I say deserted island, it was more like one of those floating garbage piles that gather together in the ocean that Greenpeace hate. Anyway, I'd still choose me.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Start acting and modeling earlier. I was 9 years old when I started. Other girls had a huge head start on me by then, so I had to play catch up.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Drop out of school. A high school diploma is useless as an adult, and college is a waste of money. Just enjoy your childhood. You only get one.
What advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, I would tell my younger self to stay away from drugs. I did far too many pharmaceutical studies. I was warned, don't do more than one at the same time, but the money was so good. I got greedy and I signed up for 18. Most of the horrific side effects have faded over time. However, I still get terrible hallucinations when I pee, and it hurts real bad to my left eye when I blink.
What would you do with the money?
Oh, I have a financial advisor that handles my money for me. My parents use them. They're really good.
What would you do with the money?
Pharmaceutical companies test drugs on puppies and other small animals all the time, then just abandon them when they're done. Someone needs to do something about it. If I win, I plan on using the money to open a rehab center so I can help those poor puppies recover and live normal lives.
What would you do with the money?
I would hire a private investigator to help me find my daughter Mallory. We got separated on a fishing trip quite a few years ago now, and I spent all my time and my resources finding her, going from city to city, but she's always moved on. So, yeah, a private investigator could be life-changing for me.
What is your most controversial or unpopular opinion?
Okay. There's this James Bond movie called The World Is Not Enough, where Denise Richards plays a physicist. Everyone was making fun of it, saying that she did a terrible job and that it was sexist of them to cast her. Here's the thing. She did fine. If she was more plain looking, I guarantee nobody would have said anything. The people who are saying that it was sexist are the sexist ones. They don't believe that a woman can be hot and smart enough to be a scientist. And that's the most sexist thing you can do.
What is your most embarrassing memory?
I came across a small group of people protesting outside a chemical plant, and I got